Alderman June Karen
Here.
is present. Alderman at Large Laurie Wilshire
I'm here.
is present. Your clerk, yours truly, Alderman at Large Michael B. O'Brien Sr. is present. And our chairman, Richard A. Dowd, chairman.
Present.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we have 5 members present. I think you have a quorum, sir.
Quorum, yes.
Also in attendance is, Alderman Jettie is here, so welcome Alderman Jettie. So that makes 6 members present. And also in attendance is Chief Rourke of NPD and Ms. Karen Smith of the Finance Department of NPD.
Okay. First item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak? No. None. Communications?
None?
Unfinished business?
None.
New business resolutions?
Before us this evening, Mr. Chair, is R-23-106, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the National Police Commission and the National Police Supervisors Association from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to recommend final passage.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to recommend final passage of R-25-106. Would you like to come up, Chief and Karen, and give us an overview?
I don't go anywhere without Karen.
Smart.
Yes.
Smart, that's right.
Just want to introduce yourselves for the record for the stenographer and let
Chief
us know
Kevin
what's
Rock.
changed. Okay.
Karen Smith, Business Manager.
Okay. Who's going to start?
I will. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight on behalf of the supervisor's contract. This union is made up of 34 members. We have 25 sergeants and 9 lieutenants. I'm sure you've read the contract. I'll just go over some of the major summary changes that are in the contract. First, beginning with longevity. Basically, right now, if a supervisor has 10 or plus years, they get an additional $75 per year. We're looking to move that to $100 per year, so that would be an extra $25 per year. The total for the first year is $850. The next article is clothing allowance. As you all know, the cost of uniforms has gone up tremendously. What they asked for is an extra, going from $1,000 to $1,100 for the first 2 years and $1,200 for the last 2 years of the contract. Next one is Article 14, which is what the city wanted, is the HMO plan. They gave that up immediately, no questions asked. They knew what we were looking for. There was no questions asked with that. And I will say, I think all of them, or a large majority of them, have already switched over when the city requested a couple years ago. They are the last union in the building that has switched over because they're the last contract that has come in front of you, so there was no issues there. Article 16, educational benefits. We encourage all of our officers to, we have a pot of money for education. We encourage them to use that to go and educate themselves and get their bachelor's and master's degrees, which many of our supervisors have. So we value that. They wanted to up that on the bachelor's degree from $1,000 to $1,200, and on the master's degrees from $1,250 to $1,500. That would be a total cost, and Karen can correct me if I'm wrong, but $5,500 a year. The next article and last one is the wages. The lieutenants are asking for 4%, 4%, 3.5%, and 3%. Sergeants are 4%, 4%, 3%, and 3%. The difference in the third year, we like to keep our sergeants. Years ago, I'm going to say that it was a mistake made and people didn't pay attention to the contracts. And our sergeant pay and lieutenant pay, we like to keep them separated. And they were very close together. And over the past couple of contracts, we've tried to separate it a little bit more. So on the third year, that's why you see the difference of 3.5 and 3%. And there's only, again, there's 9 lieutenants, so not a big cost item.
Mhm.
At this point, I would take any questions.
Any questions? Alderman Sullivan?
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in tonight. And I know that in previous discussions we've had, and I seem to be obsessed with staffing levels as far as where we are for a city. I mean, I see that this goes to fund 25 sergeants and 9 lieutenants. Where are you right now on staffing?
We're down 11 officers. We have 2 certified officers getting sworn in April 17th, so we'll be down to 9. We have 1 non-certified that is going to the June Academy. We have a couple trickling along that are early in the process that we're hopeful for. One is a certified, one is non-certified. If we could get that non-certified into the June Academy, we will. What happens is, the problem around the state is the hiring crisis. So when people they have a couple officers, there's only a certain amount of officers that can attend the police academy. So it's kind of almost a first come, first serve. So once you submit the name and the proper paperwork, and there's steps that they have to be at the end of the background to get them in the police academy.
Okay.
So if we get to that point with that second non-certified, then we will send them. There's a test coming up April 17th, April 15th or 17th, I can't remember. But there is a test in the middle of April. We have 34 people that have already applied. If we can get a couple of them off that list and rush them, maybe we can get them into June. If not, it'll be fall. We do have one, like I said, 1 certified trickling in. He just hasn't had a secondary interview, but they liked what they saw in the first, so. You know, we have 9, we'll have 9 April 17th, and hopefully if we get 2 more, we're down to 7. Now, counting those 7 was the 2 that we got in escrow. So really, we would be down 5 from the 179, but we're treading in the right direction. But again, you know, when I started, there used to be hundreds of people that took the test. And like I just said, next month we have 34 people, so.
Yeah.
And what we've seen over the past couple months, that we started testing every month, is the 50% rule, where if 50 people apply, 25 show up.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult.
I have a follow-up, please.
Follow-up? Yes.
Thank you. In specifically so the 11 that you're down now, that's patrolmen, that's overall?
Yes.
How about in these these leadership roles? Are they fully staffed?
Oh, yeah, they're always fully staffed,
Okay,
yes.
all right,
Yes.
good.
Yeah, once someone retires as a supervisor, within a couple of months, we promote someone to that rank.
Yep, okay.
We don't let that sit too long.
No, that's good. Could I have a?
Yeah, follow-up question?
Thanks. One thing that I noticed is when it comes to base pay increases for sergeants, that's in the out years, fiscal year 26 and 27. It goes, you know, the average pay increase per sergeant for the first 2 years is about $4,000, and then it drops. It looks like overtime goes up a little bit. Could you explain that? I mean, it seems as though the raise isn't
The
equal across the.
FY '26 has a 3%, and the FY '27
Yeah,
has a 3% for lieutenants.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sergeants, and lieutenants, FY '26 has a 3.5, and FY '27 has a 3%.
okay.
So those years, the percentage is lower than the first 2 years. Does that answer?
Well, no, I see that it is. I'm just asking, why is that? Why is it 4%, and then it drops down to 3%, 3%?
That's just what was negotiated. Basically, we usually do that because we don't know what's gonna happen in the future for cost of living and such, and trying to come in at a reasonable 4-year contract. Sure, everybody would love to see the 4s across.
Sure.
We do know where the economy is right now, so we came in at the higher when we negotiate for the first
Okay.
year.
Okay,
So it's kind of a negotiating strategy type of thing that we really don't get into.
Right. Okay. One more?
Yes.
Okay. Down to retirement. Maybe Alderman Dow, maybe you could answer this as well, but it says here pension. I know we talk about it a lot in this chamber, but it says here fiscal year 24 to fiscal year 27, 31.28%, New Hampshire retirement system. The amount reflected, that 31.28%, is that Nashua's share of what we kick into the state retirement system? That 1.5 million-ish
Yes,
each year?
Karen Smith, that 31.28, and it's actually gone down, I think you're well aware, it went down 2% for the sworn from prior year.
Okay. All right, that's it, thanks.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you
other
very much.
questions? Alderman O'Brien?
Well, just a point for Alderman Sullivan. If the budget goes through, what will happen is there is a plan to put more money to the UALL, which divided up amongst all the members' towns is going to basically be just a drop in the bucket, but that's what they did. But anyways, there might be additional savings coming out of this.
And just to clarify, when you say the budget, you mean the state budget?
The state budget,
Okay.
correct.
All right.
Yeah. But when it comes down to NHRS, they really don't have a lot to say. It's controlled mostly by the legislature,
Sure.
and that's what basically that they demand.
Yep.
So they gotta make their payment, and most of the police and fire and teachers are very gracious that they do, so they can retire, yes.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Jettie?
Thank you. So Chief, you skipped over Article 18, sick leave.
Okay. It was a housekeeping language change.
Okay, well,
I can go over it if you want. It's, so, just to let you know, Attorney Bolton is in the room during the negotiations. When we looked at this contract and the sick leave, let me pull it up here so I can read it to you. It's covered in there for the officers. We have it, they're all in the other contracts also, in the patrolman's contract, where it was cleaner language, I would say. What we did is cleaned up the language in it. To 120 days.
well, may I?
Yes.
I'm not sure what you mean by cleaning up the language. It looks like you increased it from 90 hours to 120 hours.
So if you, it's red line, May 12th, if their employees hired prior to May 12th, 2003,
Yeah?
the cash value, basically we clean up the language to replicate the patrolman's contract.
You all set, Alderman Jettie?
Yeah, just, forgive me, I'm trying to read here, I'm trying to catch up. So in, retirement cash value, paragraph B, it says the cash value of accrued and unused sick leave in the account, and 90 is crossed out, and 120 days is put in, so it looks like an increase of 30 days from 90 to 120. I just, I know this is, collective bargaining and it's negotiated and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. I feel very strongly that, that our employees, including police officers and the supervisors and you yourself, are entitled to, I think our sick leave ought to be liberal. I think that when people are sick, they ought to be able to stay home without suffering a loss of pay, so that they and their families continue to get paid. But I think it ought to be used just, for being when you're sick. And And if you're lucky enough not to be sick, I think you ought to come to work and, philosophically, I don't like the idea of people, feeling an incentive to come to work even when they're sick, like a mild, coughing and sneezing and that type of thing. They come to work and they infect, the people at work instead of staying home and taking care of themselves. I would like them to not have any incentive to come to work when they're sick, with the hope of being able to cash that out at a future date and get kind of a bonus for not using their sick time. And
I understand your point.
Yeah.
I guess we're trying to mirror the patrolman's contract, because this is what people that are below them in rank have. And again, something like this does incentivize people to not call out sick, which creates more problems for us in hiring overtime. And someone's paid time and a half. Something like this can incentivize also. So I understand your point, but it also works the other way too, I think.
I think they're balancing the contract so that the people that are the patrolmen aren't getting more incentives than the people that they report to. So I think that's probably where Attorney Bolton was coming in and saying, should keep that particular line common with the other unions in the police department. That's my assumption. Yes, Alderman O'Brien?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Chief, it seems like Alderman Jettie has forgotten about, can you explain to him what the FSLA is and how that interplays with the sick leave policy within the city of Nashua?
How the Fair Labor Standard?
Correct.
I'm not quite sure.
Well, in other words, if a police officer or a firefighter may be quite well, but the family has like a medical issue or something like that, and they're allowed to take the time off and claim the sickness. And it was the FSLA that kind of helped us go right through the COVID and making sure that we were properly staffed and stuff like that. Am I correct?
Correct, yes,
Right.
yeah.
So it should, when we look at the sick, we should also take a peek at the FSLA, which is a federal law, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Any other questions?
Just one?
Go ahead, Alderman O'Brien.
Yeah, I just have one on Article 14, and you guys look like you did try to get into a mirroring. We're talking about mirroring with patrolmen, but basically all the associations that work for the city, we did try to get everybody on the right page, which seems to be the flavor of this board in the past. So you have basically done that on Article 14. I
Yes,
commend you. Thank you.
There was no issues. They knew what we wanted. We told them right up front. So.
I think the information should be out there by now. Thank you.
I had one more
Alderman Dowd, I just wanted you to know that I was able to find the Zoom link and I'm here.
Yeah, I saw you. I put down the notes that you were now on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, just a little paperwork. Alderman Kelly, I have to read you the Zoom thing, but can you state your presence, the reasons for not attending the meeting in person, and whether there is anybody in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law?
I am attending via Zoom due to mobility issues. I can hear everyone, and I forget the last question. Oh, yes, I'm by myself and I can hear you all.
Thank you, Alderman Kelly.
So all votes from now on will be by roll call.
Yes.
Yes, you had a follow-up question, Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you, Alderman Dow. Line number 23, wellness reimbursement allowance, stays pretty steady. Not the amount, but what goes into that. I do know, firsthand knowledge, that several of Nashua's finest are working hard to stay in shape physically. Does that include mental wellness as well?
No, the incentive is just for physical fitness.
Okay.
That
That's
it'd be
it.
hard to evaluate for, unless you brought in a psychologist. But, yeah. Also, as far as the sick leave and thing, the officers that get hurt in the line of duty, is that, they have to use sick leave? Or is that some other type of compensation?
Injury.
Like
Injury?
workers' comp?
Yeah.
If somebody gets.
Yeah, workers' comp.
Yeah, that's workers' comp? Okay,
Right.
just wanted to clarify that to the general public, okay?
Can I just clarify one thing?
Yeah,
Alderman Jettie, just to make, I'll make it more understandable for you on the sick leave. In the contract, they already had written, employees who are promoted and are eligible to be members of the bargaining unit shall secure the same sick leave retirement cash value benefit held at the time of the promotion. So a patrolman gets promoted, he had the 120 already. So it's a cleanup of language to make it more clear, like the patrolman's contract. It was kind of, I didn't write this was done years ago. So we're just cleaning it up, like I said before, but if that makes more sense to you. So when a guy does get promoted to sergeant, he already had the 120, according to this, according to the contract. So it's just now it's gonna tell you they have the 120.
Yeah,
follow-up question, Alderman Jettie?
Yeah, just to clarify, I have no problem with, the 120 days of sick leave. If people are sick, I think they ought to be able to
Sure.
stay home and get paid. What I have a problem with is being able to not use your sick leave and then cash that out, as kind of a bonus. I think if you're sick, you ought to stay home and you ought to get paid. But if you're not sick, you ought to, if you're lucky enough not to be sick, I don't think that we owe them,
Yeah.
but I know that this is all negotiated,
Yeah.
and there's nothing. And if I could add, your wellness efforts, have certainly paid off. My wife and I attended the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Manchester, where we saw a group of officers, patrolmen and officers from other departments. And we both remarked that the National Police Department is in much better shape than
Let's keep that our little secret.
Not
I will
anymore.
say every year they have the race in October, the torch, the run for Officer Briggs, who was killed in line of duty. And it's been going on for several years, and I think we've won every single year. So we also have some fast runners. I'm not one of them, though.
And some good hockey players too.
Oh, yeah. Alderman Kelly, did you have any questions? You're on mute.
Did you ask me if I have questions? I'm good.
You have questions?
No, I'm all set, thank you.
All right, okay. Any other questions? All set? All right, so the motion on the floor is to approve R-23-106, approving the cost items of collective bargaining agreement between the National Police Commission and the National Police Supervisors Association from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Alderman Sullivan,
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes,
Alderman Jettie,
yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Clerk, Alderman O'Brien votes yes. The chair, Alderman Dow.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, that's 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes, and we will send the recommendation on to the full board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yep.
Okay. New business ordinances,
There are none?
table in committee, none. General discussion, yes, Alderman
Mr.
Sullivan.
Chairman, thank you. We got an email last night outlining all of the dates for the budget.
Draft,
Yes, was that meant for us or was that meant for the department heads?
both.
Okay,
I want to find out if we had one night where a significant number of people on the budget committee couldn't make it,
Okay.
it wouldn't be make any sense to have that meeting.
Yeah.
As far as, it's actually mostly for the divisions. They have some nights that they can't make it. We've already shifted a couple around. So we want to make sure that they're all in line with the dates, and then we'll finalize it. And, occasionally we're missing somebody on budget from a particular meeting, for travel, vacation, whatever. I mean, we have a lot of meetings and we don't have a lot of open dates, so this is a draft to give people a chance to comment.
Okay, I do have some travel dates, coming up in mid-June. I'll just reply to that email,
Okay.
just so you know.
Yeah. Yes, everybody should reply. Okay, all right. Nobody here for public comment. Remarks by Alderman? Yes, Alderman Sullivan?
Thank you. I just wanted to wish those who celebrate a happy Passover and those who celebrate a happy Easter.
Yes, Easter's coming up.
Ditto, right.
Yeah. Okay. Motion, Alderman O'Brien?
Yes, you have one. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, and it will be by roll call. May I call the roll?
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Alderman Sullivan.
Yes.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Jettie.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien votes yes. Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it's 7 yeas, 0 nays.
We're adjourned at 7:26 PM. Thank you, everybody.